No, I think there's a few things going on here, Skip. I think, one, anytime a guy comes back from injury, you're not going to be in game shape. So it takes you a few games to get ready, get back to game shape. And with LeBron, he's the type of player that players have to get used to playing with him, and he has to get used to playing with them. So I think those are a few of the reasons for what looked like subpar play in terms of by LeBron James standards in his first 6 or 7 games back. Keep in mind, he's averaging 23 points, 12 rebounds, and 10 assists since he's been back. But I think what people are looking at are the lack of explosiveness. It comes in bursts, but it's not there consistently. I think that's also just he's 34 years old, and he's in his 16th season. And I think the aging process is beginning to hit LeBron, and he knows it, so he paces himself. Last year he paced himself, maybe even the year before, but then he had this huge burst at the end of the season. Remember, everybody was talking about the Cavaliers in these dire terms. Are they the same team? Are they going to be okay? Is LeBron going to be able to get them back to the finals? And he came on very strong in the second half of the season. I expect to see the same thing. I talked to a person close to him this morning, and they said the groin really isn't a problem. They think he's just kind of been pacing himself because he's not quite fully in basketball shape. And, as he gets back into that shape, he's got to pick his spots. But I expect, Skip, to see a reinvigorated LeBron James as the Lakers try to make this playoff push.
Did I just hear my friend Chris Broussard say that the aging process has hit LeBron James? I think those words just came out of your mouth.
Skip, it has. And remember last year when everybody was saying, is this LeBron's best season ever? I was saying no, it's a great season, but it's not his best ever because his best ever, he was a terror both offensively and defensively.
Right, I agree.
He is not playing good defense. Even before the injury, he's just not the same defender, which is to be expected at his age and this stage of his career. Now, this LeBron is still very good. It's still great. It's still arguably the best player in the world. But, yeah, I think it's fair to say that he's not quite the same player.
Yet, I'm going to give you this. Down the stretch last year with those Cavaliers, I thought he was a terror offensively. Not defense. He rested on defense, right, but he gave effort, energy, fire, desire on offense at the highest level I've seen in his whole career. I was highly impressed. He did carry that team down the stretch all the way into, to the very end of Game 1 of the finals, obviously.
Yeah, I think, look, offensively he's going to be fine. And even we're sitting here talking about the Lakers being concerned about his play. I think a big part of it is what they're seeing defensively. You saw Trae Young, and look, LeBron's not expected to be able to stay in front of Trae Young, but in that Atlanta game, Trae Young just blows by him.
He did.
And during these 6 or 7 games, what the Lakers have seen is we kind of have had to try to hide LeBron defensively. You've never had to say that about him. Even earlier in the season when we know he wasn't as good as he used to be on defense, you still may not have had to hide him as much. But again, I'm like you. I expect him to come out. This is what the Lakers season is about. At best, no one expected them to beat Golden State and get to the finals. They certainly expected them to make the playoffs. And at this point, with LeBron missing 18 games, I think it would be a relative achievement for them to get into the playoffs, especially if they can avoid the 8th seed, because I believe if they can get to 7, now I know that's a big if.
It's a big
Your
if.
Spurs are there right now. But if they can get to 7, I like the Lakers over Denver.
Okay.
I like the Lakers to make a decent playoff run and be able to get to the second round, if not the conference finals, if they can avoid Golden State early.
Okay, before we leave the groin injury, I can't get past, I'm going to bring it up maybe last time on this show. Maybe last time. Maybe tomorrow will be the last time. But, Chris, December 26th, the day after the fateful groin injury was suffered at Golden State on Christmas Day, LeBron, as you recall, tweeted, dodged a bullet, and then hashtag back in no time. and he had seen the MRI. Again, he said he heard a pop the day before, which is not good, a really bad sign. So did he tear it or not? I don't know. And then we were thinking 3 weeks maybe, and it was the maximum of about almost 6 weeks. So what happened? Why would he have tweeted that the day after if he didn't think it wasn't nearly as bad as he thought it was on December 25th?
I did talk to one of his, now the word they're using is associates, about that. And he said LeBron thought, when you say he heard a pop, remember, this is a guy that's never been seriously injured. And he keeps his body in great shape. We know all the money he puts into it. So I was told he heard a pop and he thought it was a lot worse. And he was happy to find out, okay, it's only a strained groin. Whether it takes 3 weeks or 6 weeks, he was happy that that's all it was. That's what I've been told. So, and again, I'm hearing that he should be fine, that the groin they don't think is a problem. I don't think, Skip, if LeBron really thought the groin was still a problem, that he would have played in the All-Star game, or certainly not as much as he played.
And by the way,
you know, and you saw, look, I'm surprised Kyrie played. I mean, he hadn't played his last 2 games because of the knee, but I don't think LeBron would have played like that.
Hey, I was surprised that guy number 2 up in Toronto played. Supposedly he had a big knee injury last week, or knee issue of some kind. I don't know what's going on, but hey, the pass off the backboard from D. Wade for the dunk in the 4th quarter, that looked like full-scale LeBron, right? I mean, it looked like he was all out.
Well, to your point, even there was a play, I believe, late in the Atlanta game. Mm-hmm. I don't remember if it was an out. I think he drove to the basket and had a slam late that, you know, it looked like old LeBron. I believe he can do that in spurts, and certainly offensively as he rests defensively. But look at the guys in LeBron's draft class, Skip. Dwayne Wade is about to retire.
He is.
Carmelo Anthony can't find a team that wants him. Chris Bosh is retired.
Yep.
Kobe, remember in Kobe's 16th year, that was the last year he made the playoffs. He had the Achilles injury at the end of that year, and then he battled with injuries the rest of his career. LeBron has spoiled us to some degree because this was his worst injury, and it was only 18 games. I hope that going forward, we don't start to see these little nagging injuries hit him, but it is Father Time, and we know what they say about him.
What did you make of our friend Brian Windhorst saying the other day that word on the street is that LeBron now weighs 280 pounds? I've always thought he weighed 280 pounds, but what do you think about that?
No, you're actually right, because I know during some of his earlier years in the middle of the year or early in the season, he's in great shape. He would be close to that. But Mike Mancias, who's LeBron's trainer, he's with LeBron everywhere. He's been with him since his days in Cleveland in his first go-round. He came out and really disputed it strongly. Obviously, Brian is plugged in, but I think people are just kind of speculating. Look, I've talked to people around the league, Skip, that have said they don't think LeBron, and I'm not just talking about these last 6 or 7 games. I mean this season, even as he's put up good numbers, they don't see the same explosion that they used to see.
I don't either. Yep.
Some people are beginning to think that you're starting to see a little bit of a decline in LeBron's game.
And in these games since his return, especially the game at Boston, at Philly, at Atlanta, I just didn't see that fire and desire. I don't know if he was protecting, guarding, just sort of going 3/4 speed because he was afraid to let it fly. But what did you see in those 3 games? Because I didn't see the guy I saw down the stretch in Cleveland last year.
And that's what the Lakers have talked about being concerned about as well, is the lack of intensity. Look, you and I both know at times LeBron has sulked. If he feels like he doesn't really have enough to help him go as far as he wants to go, which I guess now would be deep into the Western Conference playoffs, he can sulk. We've seen it in Cleveland before. And I think that's what you're seeing a little bit of. I think when he sat there during those 18 games, or really those first 17, and saw this team go 6-11 and really struggle without him, that may have taken something out of him mentally and emotionally. And he's got to get it back. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He has got to, however he feels about this team, he's got to lead it, and he's got to play with that intensity because they will feed off of him. I agree with LeBron and Rondo when they said before the break, we need this. This is at the right time for us. I think the young guys, they're a little further removed now from the trade deadline issues. I think LeBron is probably going to be healthier. Lonzo should be back, and that's hurt their defense losing him. So I think the young players are ready to come back and try to make a push. They need to see an engaged and an intense LeBron who exudes confidence in not only in himself, but in them if they're going to make this run.
Chris Broussard is on fire today with objectivity about LeBron James. He just said publicly, did Chris Broussard, that he has sulked before. And I would agree that there are times, but did he really sulk before overtime in Game 1 in Oakland last year in the finals? But I'll leave that alone for now. But remember the virtual rant from Rich Paul, I think it was to The Athletic, about when LeBron was going to come back or not come back. In fact, you'd talked to Rich, remember, earlier that same day, I recall?
Yeah, and he told me if it were the playoffs, he would have been playing. That was about the third week, was it, of the injury?
About the third week. But then maybe he just got tired of the questions later in the day. But his comments to The Athletic were in the form of a rant. It got profanity-laced, and the point was, we will come back when we are ready to come back, and it smacked of the Lakers are starting to sort of encourage us strongly to come back, starting to want us to come back before we're ready to come back. Is he sulking a little bit because he felt forced to return at a schedule?
Possibly. LeBron would not respond favorably to that, I know, but I also think that he probably was just like, look, this is a groin injury. You don't want to play around with this. If I come back too soon, then you could re-injure it, and then the season is really lost. And I don't think he should be blamed for expecting this team to be able to hold the fort while he's out. Like, they really, Skip, they let go of, losing to the Knicks, losing to the Cavs. We really shouldn't even be having a will they make the playoffs conversation, but we are because they kind of let the ball go.
Although,
now, I will say they did have injuries.